Hey guys, I'm Lee from Lee Likes Music, the place to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp. And in today's video, I'm going to review Sleepmakeswaves' newest album, which is called Made of Breath Only. So that's coming up. So Sleepmakeswaves is a post-rock instrumental rock band from Australia, and they were founded back in 2006, I believe. They've actually been putting out a lot of records over the years, but I really haven't heard about them before now. I've actually been checking out a lot of post-rock albums on Bandcamp, and there actually are a lot of good post-rock releases. For example, Flickerate's new EP, Reframe, that had a couple of good songs. Vasudeva also came out with an album now. I have only listened to the few singles that they released, but they were really good, so I'm really looking forward to checking out their album. And David Maxim Mikic released an album which is called Who Bit the Moon. That was just insane. I've only been listening to it a couple of times. I've started to write the review of that album now, and I have to say that there's a lot of post-rock and instrumental rock albums coming out now on Bandcamp that is just taking things by storm. And it really is the same thing with this album as well, Made of Breath Only. It is an amazing album. There's a lot of versatility, so many different soundscapes, so many different moods that this album is kind of exploring. So yeah, without any further ado, let's just jump into Sleepmakeswaves' Made of Breath Only. So the first track off of this record is called Our Days Were Polar, and it's a very short track that starts with this reverbing guitar, and it also starts with some skittery, glitchy sounds in the background. And this skittery and glitchy sound is something that you can find later on in the album as well. It's actually something they use as a form of creating an atmosphere, or just to add an extra level of percussion to the song, I guess. Longer into the song, you can hear this whispering vocals coming in, and yeah, after that, the song is basically done. I think it lasts for like 1 minute, and right before the 1 minute mark, I think like 10 seconds, 50 seconds into the song, there's also this drum kind of lingering in the background, transcending into the next soundtrack. So the second track is called Worlds Away, and this is definitely one of my favorite tracks off of the album. It has this very epic and lofty and just, yeah, big soundscape to it. It is also really driving, and I don't know, the best way I can describe this is by saying that it is a truly magnificent and marvelous listening experience. It starts very calm, but suddenly it just explodes into this very, very hard-hitting sonic landscape, and from there on it ebbs into another passage which is a lot more spacey and atmospheric. When listening to the song for the first few times, it can be very, very whimsical. It can feel almost disorienting because there's a lot of passages here that are novel. I mean, that is the best way of describing the song in general. It's so novel. It's something that I've really never heard before, and keep in mind, this comes from a guy who's never really explored that much of post-rock before. But with this second track, Worlds Away, and with the rest of the tracks on this album in general, there's also a sense of novelty all the time. There are always passages in the different songs that are unfolding in completely new ways, that are surprising you, that are really just not what you expect them to be. Shortly said, you always get introduced to something new and something exciting, and almost to the point that you get overwhelmed. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just that you need to spend more time with this record. You have to spend more time actually listening to the record in order to gain some familiarity with it. About halfway through the song, like I think it's 3 minutes and 40 seconds in, the dynamics of the song really steps down a notch. The instrumental arrangement and the output in terms of sounds just goes down a notch. From this moment onwards, there's a simple guitar that is leading the way, a simple acoustic guitar. There's these glitchy sounds that I was talking about during the introduction of this video. Those sounds are coming back. And then after this very calm and very stripped down passage, it kind of builds up to this really anticipated build-up climax kind of, which is very typical in many post-rock songs. It goes from being this very positive song, which is very heavy and driving at times, to this climax where everything suddenly becomes very lofty, even more loftier and more epic than it already was. There's also this synth going on here, which makes it all sound even more angelic, I would say. Then at the very end of the song, it comes down full circle with this very calm and chill passage, which is a really big contrast to the early beginning of the song, where it just all exploded in this big, massive output of sounds and instruments. At the end, it's very stripped down again, it's very calm, and I really, really enjoyed that. I'm gonna give this track an 8 out of 10. Now, the second song that really catered to me on this album was the fourth track, which is called Tundra. It starts out with these layers of synth that kind of pave way for this grandiose soundscape that, just like Worlds Away, the second track, sounds really, really epic. There are some similarities here, as I just mentioned, to the second track, Worlds Away. For example, the second passage in the song is just as explosive as the first one, or as the chorus, I guess you can say, in Worlds Away. The only difference with this explosive chorus that you'll find in this song is that it is extremely catchy. It has this really catchy guitar melody that comes with it. I'll definitely say that this is one of the heaviest songs that you will encounter on this album, at least to this point. And also halfway through the song, you'll encounter these mind-altering, dizzying time signatures, which refer a lot to the progressive rock style, which is really awesome because on this album, it's not just post-rock, it's also a mix of progressive rock. And yeah, I like when people and artists mix genres because that tends sometimes to get very authentic. The song is also quite heavy, heavy to the point that I would almost say that this is a metal song. So yeah, there you have another genre as well. And again, it pays homage to this post-rock genre as well by having this very atmospheric, very lofty and spacey outro. Yeah, I think that this might actually be my favorite track off of the album. So that was the fourth track, Tundra. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. The last track that I want to mention that really, really made a huge impact on me is the fifth track. It's called The Edge of Everything. And when you listen to the song, it literally sounds like you are standing on the edge of everything. During the start of the song, you can hear a mix of this sliding, very dark and doomy electric guitar with some glitchy sounds. Again, we have these glitchy, skittery sounds in the background. And then after a while, it starts to build up. There's an acoustic guitar that is coming in here. And for you guys who've been watching my previous reviews, especially my David Basson reviews, you probably know that I love this combination of digital crafted and created sounds with live instruments. I don't know, I find something very interesting about this. It really creates a bit of versatility, a bit of variousness in music when you combine like different ways of crafting sounds. And I think that is one of the things that really made this album a lot better. All of a sudden, the song just erupts into this massive wall of sound. It is actually very similar to the previous songs that I mentioned as well, like Tundra and Worlds Away. But hey, this is what post-rock is about. It's about creating songs that have more emphasis on dynamics and melody. There's no vocals here. It's completely instrumental. So that is what the artists are kind of forced to to emphasize more. During the first half of the song, the passages changes and alterates, and it's very powerful. There's a very powerful and energetic output of sounds, but then it goes over to passages that are more static, that are more repetitive, and adds a bit of contrast to it. There are some really punchy and just straight out catchy guitar hooks here, which I really appreciated a lot. And you know, I have a hard time describing this music because it's always changing. As I've said before in this review, it's always changing, and novelty is a keyword for this music. There's always something new to discover in it. There's always changes, alterations, build up, breakdown in dynamics. There's different genres, as I mentioned, that these guys are using. So yeah, this is an album that took me a long time to get into, but it is something that I definitely instantly saw a lot of value in. But then again, you have to give it time. That's the thing. The Edge of Everything, track number 5, it's basically a song that mixes many different genres. It mixes hard rock, prog rock, folk even, with this post-rock momentum that they're kind of building out from. So yeah, I would give this song a very good score. I'm gonna give it a 7. I just lost my pages. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. So yeah, I would love to get more in depth in this record, but these were the 3 tracks that I wanted to put emphasis on. I would give this album an 8 out of 10. It's definitely one of the, if not the best post-rock album that I've experienced so far. But if you guys have any post-rock albums that you would just suggest to me, then I would highly appreciate it if you share it in the comments below. Because to be honest, I really haven't explored post-rock and post-metal that much. So yeah, this is definitely a genre that I'm getting more and more into nowadays. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please feel free to subscribe by clicking the red subscribe button below if you like to share, explore, and learn about rock music just as much as me. Also, let me know what you guys think about Made of Breath Only by Sleepmakeswaves in the description below. If you have any thoughts, I would love to hear it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope to see you later. Bye. The second track is can't speak today, which are paving away the way. The last track that I want to mention that Worlds Away and fuck, I forgot it.